Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Define I Racing series. My name is Olaf, aka Wops Racing, and I'll be your commentator for tonight as we'll be racing around the circuit of Monza with a short qualifying followed by a 50% race. And around this track, you never know what is going to happen. First drivers out on track, out of the pits. Going to take a quick look. We have one of the Haases, and it is Readouts. Funny thing, Readouts in the previous race didn't score too well and got pushed down a position by Naismith in the Red Bull. And besides Readouts, there's someone else who's been switched down in the championship, and that's Paddy in the Alfa Romeo. So Alfa Romeo currently still championship leader. We're being chased by McLaren, but because of the results of the previous race, let me pull those up real quick. Kaká, if you remember, smashed it into the wall on one of the final laps. I believe it was the final lap. He smashed it into the wall and ended up not taking home as many points as he wanted to. Then we had Rios in second place, taking home 6th, so getting a lot of points. Paddy not attending the previous race, where Tutschke got 4th place, overtaking Paddy, and is now in position 3 in the standings. And with that, with the change of performance between the McLaren and the Ferrari now has taken 2nd position in the constructor standings as well, with 371 points versus McLaren's 359 points. So this means that Ferrari is only 55 points behind Alfa Romeo. So it's still entirely possible for Ferrari to take home the championship this season, as there are 2 rounds remaining. One of those being Monza, where we're at today, and the last round is next week in Abu Dhabi at the Yas Marina circuit. For today, though, Readouts being the first driver to set a lap in this qualifying session, a very important one at that. He really wants to get that position back from Naismith, who is currently still sitting in the pits. So for the constructor standings, there's about 55 points between P1 and P2. But for the driver standings, it is 45. As Readouts crosses the line with a 1 minute 20.5. A very solid lap for this first driver out on track. We're going to take a good look at what McLaren will be doing in this race, as well as Ferrari, as Brass Monkeys retires from the session in the final corner. Don't know if we can see that. Checking real quick which blue dot I have to... Nope. I'm a bit too late. Unsure which blue dot I was supposed to be looking at there. Probably was a Williams, as some drivers are setting lap times now, but none of them are able to match Readouts. Thok being very close with a 1 minute 20.58. So some good competition here. Very great lap. Really great lap by Readouts, as Tutschke is going around the final corner to start his first flying lap. And we can look on board a little bit for Monza, this very important first turn that we'll see during the race as well. The first lap is going to be chaos around here. Hopefully no one will lock up and take anyone else out. Very slow speed corner, very low speed corner. Lots of drivers will be running low wings, as Arkit takes pole, but then gets overtaken by Paddy with a 1 minute 19.8. So that's 7/10 quicker than Readouts put it in. Mihu also grabbing 3rd, which is very important for the championship as well. for him to start as high up as possible. As I was saying, lots of drivers will be grabbing low wing because of the high speed sections right around here after Ascari and of course on the start finish straight to get as much speed as possible. That does make it very difficult to go around corners like Ascari. These medium speed corners, you can hear Touchy going back on the throttle as well in the middle of that corner. Trying to get as much speed through it on the exit because of this long straight. It's very important to get your exit right. Sporting the number 3, which is not going to be allowed in the next game, but luckily I have to wait for some time for that, and puts it in second place, claiming that position from Arkid, who is currently driving in the Mercedes. And some more positions, some more times being set, and interesting enough, we see Naismith putting in a 1 minute 20.5 right behind Readout. So this battle between these two is going to go for a while still. We see Thok also retiring in 8th. Maybe not happy with the lap, but doesn't think he could do any more. Interesting. We're going to check again. The steps on the mediums. He's not the only one. The fastest lap set by Arkid was also on the mediums. He's currently in the pits. Have to wait for that. For him to maybe do another lap on the softs. Check out what that is all about. Faulkner now also retiring without setting a lap, which is interesting. And one thing we haven't seen before, actually, now that I noticed, I was looking at drivers that were still in the pit. I was looking for Kaka, but he is out and already put down a lap. And what we know from Kaka, our championship leader, is that he usually stays in the pits until the final few minutes, sets one lap, and is done with it. Today, however, I think he's gonna have low confidence as he lines this one up. Gets a lap in. To check real quick. Should be able to open up the lap data. As Oranjeboom does the exact same thing as Faulkner and Brass Monkeys. Retiring in the pits. Kaka going back in as well. Retiring in the pits and not setting a lap time. Which might be because they just don't think they have the pace. Was now on a lap. Half a second down, might be an in lap. See Remix rounding out his lap. Looks like he's going to go into the pits as well. Was 2 going very slowly. And then we have Joby just starting a lap. Had a little bit of cooldown. Now going for it. Has to beat at least his own time. But in order to shoot up more than one position, he needs a full second. Exactly a full second. To beat P12. Currently has 3/10 in the first sector. So if he keeps this up, it might just be possible. However, drivers are not allowed to change their setup too much. There's only a few little things they can change, like the front wing angle and some differential brake bias, all that jazz. So once you stick with the setup and you start driving with it in qualifying, you have to run it through the entire weekend. Most setups are very well optimized in the F1 game, so they'll most likely be running around the same setup anyway. But maybe some drivers have tweaked it to their own and made their own. Joby now going over the finish line, improves by 1.6 seconds and does jump up 2 positions into 12th, right behind Kaka, who has gone back into the pits. As we can see, Divine Eye 4/10 down, unfortunately, in the previous sector, and is not able to improve on his lap. So still 14th position for this Mercedes driver. Now the other Mercedes driver is R11. You know him from the Alpine, from races like Australia, where he performed very well in that Alpine car. Doing a great job, and I believe also winning the race. Or at least getting very close to winning the race. I have to quickly look at his scores as he's going up onto the starting line. See how much he improves, and he does improve by quite a bit. Putting a 119.3, which is half a second faster than Paddy, who is currently up in first, defending the glory for Alfa Romeo. All Paddy needs to do this weekend is score higher than Mercedes and or higher than McLaren. And higher than Ferrari. So that's the chase between those drivers, between those teams. With that, we do see Muriel still in the pit, Mihu also in the pit, Paddy Kaka both also in the pits, Wazat and Toshki also in the pit. 6 minutes left, so there's enough time for drivers to make a round, set a lap, and then go in, maybe do another one. Some of them will be testing a little bit of the pace, but it looks like the lap set with these tires are all on softs. So that means that the Steps has put in his soft lap, which he usually does a bit later. He now put in a 1 minute 19.8. Definitely going out again. Currently already 7/10 faster, which is interesting to see. And there we go. That was the wrong graphic. Now he's plus 1.7. Because if it was 7/10 quicker in the first sector, I would have gone crazy. That would have been wild. Currently on his way to Ascari. With that difference in the first sector, might not be able to improve on this lap, but might do so on the next one. Looks like he definitely won't improve on this one, as the lap time shoots away right now. Going back into the pits. So we have Redoubts and Sparrow as the only two drivers on the track right now. Redoubts having invalidated his lap, so not able to finish this one for a time. Sparrow, however, still on a lap. It's plus 1.4, which is not ideal. And I believe, if you look at the standings, this is the closest qualifying has been, as far as I know. As we have P2 with a 119.8 and P13 with a 120.8, essentially. Giving it 11 places, or 12 positions, 12 drivers within a second of each other. Which is really, really close. As Sparrow crosses the track limits, invalidates his lap, not able to set this for a time. Looking a bit further down, we have Joby on an out lap. On his way to try and improve, because he is one of those drivers that is within a second of P2. So even improving a few tenths, as much as 2 tenths, will put him up 2 positions. 3 tenths will put him up 4 positions. Almost. 3 positions. It gets really close further up. If you look at P4 through P6, half a second in between those. Oh, half a tenth, I mean. Not half a second, half a tenth between those 3 drivers. And as expected, Remix going out for another lap in the AlphaTauri. Looking to set a banger lap. Rios finally out as well on his first out lap. We'll jump on board with him once he is closer to the finish line. Joby now starting the lap. Knows he's got some time to make up for. Action zones tonight will definitely be turn 1. I believe every every braking zone will be. Meaning turn 1 in the first chicane. Right here in turn 5, I believe this is in this to the second chicane. Maybe we'll see some moves into Lesmo. Will be more difficult with the speed of these cars, but might see some side-by-side action through the Lesmo corners. Then, of course, right before Ascari, you're going with such speed and the slipstream and the DRS. It doesn't look like Joby is opening the DRS. Might just be a visual bug, but he has invalidated this lap, so that might also not be a visual bug. Hopping on board with Rios. Starting off the lap very strong. Missing the apex there. A little bit less strong. But keeping it within the track limits. Opening up the rear wing. Catching a little bit of slipstream there. Of the Alpine. I believe. Would that be the steps? That would indeed be the steps. Who might just have given Rios a small boost down into the tunnel and onto Ascari. Rios going very wide through the final corner onto the straight, and where can he put his McLaren? In P14, which is not where he wants to be. That is a very disappointing lap from the McLaren, knowing that his teammate Miu is 7th. About 7/10 quicker. As AJ now also retires in 16th. Doesn't think he can improve anymore. We have R11 improving on this lap, but he invalidated. Which means that this lap will not count and he'll only have one more shot. Maybe. If he crosses the line, if the yellow flags lift, we'll be able to see that. Steps now approaching a yellow flag for McLaren. That would be Rios. Going over the line. R11 does get another lap in. He does not get another lap in. That would have been a big improvement. But he does not get another lap in. I was looking at the wrong Mercedes. I was looking at the Vine Eye, who does get a lap in. But first, we're looking at the steps. See if he can improve on his lap time. He needs just over 4.5 tenths to claim pole position, or he'll have to make do with second place provisionally as he crosses the track limits. And the lap is invalidated. Does not count. And the steps has to settle for second as Kaká takes pole position with a 1 minute 19.2. But Paddy is there too. Can he take it? Yes, he can. With just a 10th faster than the steps, putting it in third position. But qualifying is not over yet. Pushing the steps down to fourth is Paddy. But now we still have Touchkey needing that improvement. Because he knows he is up against the Alfa Romeo drivers. Together with his teammate Waza, who we'll look at after Touchkey has landed. Where will he put his car? And it's second place. It's front row for Touchkey. Just a 10.5 shy of Kaká. A great lap there. Waza being able to do something, but he looks like he had a mistake on that lap as he's on plus 8 seconds. Touchkey making a great lap there, putting his car in second place. Only a few more drivers to go. One of those is Divine Eye, going back into the pits and having to settle for 13th position as he is the last driver to go in. And that means our pole sitter for tonight is Kaká, followed by Touchkey sitting alongside on the front row. Kaká's teammate Paddy in fourth, trying to defend his honor, trying to get that position back from Touchkey, but Touchkey has a strong showing, being within a 10th of Kaká. It's going to be a very, very interesting race. And here we have it. Our qualifying classification. Kaká being on pole, Tushki following up on the front row. After that, we have Arkit and Paddy filling up the second row with the Alfa Romeo both in the top 4. Behind that, we have the Steps with an unfortunate track limits moment where his lap was invalidated. And then Remix, our stand-in the AlphaTauri. Behind that, we have Naismith, Mihu, Waza, and Redoubts finishing up the top 10. Behind that, we got Thok, Joby Rennie, Divine Eye, Mrios, Sparrow, AJ, Jaspars, and then Oranjeboom, Faulkner, and Brass Monkeys without a lap time set. It's going to be a very interesting race as we do not have the pace of those 3 drivers. We don't have the data to see how fast they are. So we'll have to look in the race. We know that the Steps has a pretty okay pace on the mediums. But we'll have to wait and see what the strategies will be. Maybe we won't even see the mediums. We probably will, which is just a speculation. We'll see the, of course, always incorrect tire strategies when the race starts, or when the formation lap starts, I should say. Tonight we can finally see the people behind the claps. Last week in Saudi Arabia, we just saw the hand sticking out, clapping. Now we can actually see the people behind it. So that is very cool to see. A beautiful day, of course, in Monza. No rain for the time being. Doesn't look like it's going to rain either. So it's going to be a clean, quick, cut and dry, literally, race. And for Kaká, an important one. Because if he wins today, or scores any form of points, I believe his championship title will be secured. So hopefully for him, he'll be scoring at least a bit of points. Starting from pole position. But he'll be chased down by Tuchki in second. Maybe making a move already into turn 1. We know that it's a very common occurrence here in Monza. The drivers can send it up on the inside. Here we have it, the formation lap starting. 27 lap race around the Monza circuit. With Kaká leading the pack of the grid. Starting on the medium tires. If we look further down the grid, the majority has chosen for the medium tires. Waza, Jaspars, and Brass Monkeys onto the hards. And Redoubts, Divine Eye, and AJ on the softs. So Waza and Tushki going for opposite strategies to maybe put Ferrari at an advantage here. While Kaká and Paddy are running the same strategy. Starting off with the mediums. Most likely going to be a medium to hard race or a hard to medium race. And for the soft runners, they'll have to experiment with what works and how fast the tires are going to degrade. I was going to say get your predictions in, but we don't run predictions here, but we can still do them. I will, for this race, predict at least one safety car from a send into turn 1. And I will also predict that the styrofoam boards in the runoff at turn 1 will not be standing when the checkered flag falls, when the race ends. So that means we're going to have a lot of action, hopefully, for this event. Kaká now lining up a big gap behind the front row and the second row. After that, we have another big gap for the rest of the pack, meaning the tires will cool down a bit more than Kaká and Tochki would like. But at least they are on the same level. It's going to be an even drive at the start of this race. Everyone lining up now, switching to Brass Monkeys at the back. Wrong house, forgot to press a button. Going to Brass Monkeys quickly to see when he is going to line up, and he is slowing down, getting ready, and into his slot now. Moving back over to the front, we have Kaká and we have Tochki looking for this fight. Arkid in third might look to make a move as well. So we see the lights go on. And we're racing in Monza. Kaká getting a great start. Tochki not getting off the line very well. Unable to look for anything down the inside, but has to defend on the outside as Arkid is looking for that overtake. Braking very late. Someone going off already. I believe that's a Red Bull of Naismith going off. Having to brake. And there's a yellow flag already out in turn 1. No big contact from what I have seen. Kaká taking the lead. Tochki in second. Arkid sticking it in third, but some battles going down further. Paddy in fourth. Remix getting overtaken by the steps, but not giving a single inch. Taking back that position. And the steps has to try again. Waza further down, chasing this pack as well. Chasing the two. And being followed. As Joby Rennie has retired from the session. And we've got a virtual safety car for this incident after the first Lesmo in between the two Lesmo corners. And the drivers can catch their breath for just a tiny bit. I'm going to assess the damage on the cars for a bit with these camera angles. No damage on the first few cars. It looks like Paddy's car is also still intact completely. Don't think there's much damage on any of the cars as they're passing by. It should all be clean. Look at the front wings here. Doesn't look like anyone has severe damage. Naismith, the driver, with the runoff area hit. And Mihu being the driver to get a 5-second penalty. Two drivers in the pits. It's Remix and Mihu. Mihu going instantly from the mediums to the softs. He did pick up some damage, which is not visible, but he did pick it up. Now into the pits to get his wing replaced. And grab a clean pair of tires. Remix going onto the hards as the safety car is ending. Mihu having that 5-second penalty spells disaster for McLaren. As they're in a 3-way battle for the lead of the Constructors' Championship. Mihu also up close in the Drivers' Championship within the top 10. Scoring a lot of points. Wants to finish as high as possible. But now Arkid chasing down Tochki, and who has Paddy on his back as well. This small train of 3 cars allow Kaká to pull away even further, creating a big gap between P1 and P2 because Tochki can do nothing but defend. There is no DRS just yet, and Tochki is already outside the second, so Kaká has a good lead. We see Tochki trying to do the exact same. Pull away from the cars behind us. Kaká sets the fastest lap so far, a 1:27.4. And of course that gets beaten by everyone going onwards because we had a virtual safety car. So the drivers last should be able to get more going. As DRS is enabled, Arkid and Paddy can now try to do something. Try to overtake. We've got some more very close battles in the back. P10 through P14. Which is now P13 as Oranjeboom gets a bit further behind. Miu now overtaking Remix. Going up into 18th place. Still has that 5-second penalty that he needs to take. Mariel's overtaking Divine Eye into Lesmo. The first Lesmo. And Thok and Redoubts also battling We see Redoubts, I think, going on side by side with Sparrow. Sparrow gaining the position into Ascari. But Redoubts still side by side and has the better exit. Takes the position back going into the final corner. As it looked like Redoubt went a little bit wide. Mihu now overtaking Jaspars. Jaspars losing 2 positions. Seems to have made a mistake there into Ascari. If you look at Touchkey, he is falling further and further back steadily, but a little bit behind Kaka. Orchid now very close to be able to make that overtake happen. He's going to look for it. It's Faulkner chasing the back of that Williams. Marios getting the overtake done on AJ. Just a bit too late in looking at that one, but Faulkner will have DRS. Going side by side with Sparrow down into the tunnel. Has the position going into Ascari. As Arkid overtakes Touchkey out of Ascari. For 2nd place. Now they're 2 seconds behind Kaka. So Kaka can have a little bit of rest. And the Alfa Romeo driver can take some tire managing actions. It's Patty looking to back up his teammate. Trying to delay these 2 drivers as much as possible. Especially Touchkey. Because he is ultimately challenging Alfa Romeo in that Constructors Championship, in that title fight. Johannebaum now getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Might have some form of damage. We'll be able to see that in just a second. As Faulkner overtakes Redoubts. Faulkner starting up very far behind. Johannebaum now retiring in the pits. If we look at the positions gained, you see that remix as Faulkner gets a little push from Redoubts into the 2nd chicane. Loses the position, was 11 positions up, and is now down to just 10. It's a small tap from Redoubts and loses that place. Loses 8th place, but doesn't give up that easily. Gets the DRS, passes back. And now up into 8th position he goes. Arkid finally loose behind the Ferrari, chasing down Kaka as Touchkey goes sideways into the barrier, has to rejoin and goes into the pits for repairs maybe. No, he does not. He stays out. He doesn't have that much damage he can go on. Luckily, he can still go on, but he did lose a lot of positions, which is going to make Ferrari very, very vulnerable. Arkid chasing down Kaka is within that second. Does not have DRS just yet, but by chasing so closely, he will be able to get that DRS down into Ascari and maybe overtake before. We'll see in just a moment. On to Lesmo 2. Flipping open that rear wing. Looking down onto the rear of that Alfa Romeo. Does he go for it? Not yet. Sticking behind for now. There's a yellow flag out. That looks to be Naismith off the track. And lost his front wing at that. Having to limp back into the pits. As we'll look at Arkid with the DRS in the slipstream. Definitely look for a send down to turn 1. Maybe doesn't even need to send. They're side by side now. And he gets the position into the braking zone. Clean overtake with DRS. There's caution in sector 3. And Faulkner makes the exact same mistake that some other drivers have made as well. Going around losing something. As was And Thok might have had a bit of collision there. But Thok getting a 3-second penalty for corner cutting and losing positions. Tutski ultimately winning out on that and overtaking his teammate. This back into 5th place. But the fight for the lead is not over yet. Kaká now has the DRS. And is going to do the exact same thing as R11 did on the previous lap. Trying to get as close as possible. Getting the DRS on the start-finish straight. And overtaking. Maybe doesn't even need to wait until that point. R11 going defensive into the final corner. Kaká braking late. Ultimately does not go for the move. Decides to go for a better exit. Chasing down R11 in the slipstream. Opening up the flap and being able to overtake cleanly on the straight. R11 knows there's nothing he can do about this. Gives up the lead. Doesn't fight too much. Because he knows that'll cost both of them time. Giving Paddy a better shot at doing something to Waza. Now, dangerously close to losing 6th position to Mrios. Going defensive on the inside, but not defensive enough. Mrios looking for a dive, sends it. Looks like there's small contact as Thok joins the battle as well into the rear of Mrios. All 3 drivers come out alive. Luckily, Thok having a lot of speed off that exit, looking to go around the outside. Side by side into the 2nd chicane. Thok has the inside, follows Waza neatly. But Mrios is not done yet. Looking not fast enough. Has to wait a bit more. Thok with that 3-second time penalty. Which I believe will not be served during the pits. Or this one might be, I'm unsure. We'll see in just a moment when they start doing the pit rounds. Thok now overtaking Waza into Ascari with that DRS activated. Taking 6th position. R11 now. Close to Kaká. Doing the same dance over and over. This time it might look a little bit more difficult as he outbrakes Kaká. And takes the lead of the race once again. Mrios now losing his footing. Gets overtaken by Redoubts. As Waza takes back 6th position. You can now see Redoubts also looking to make a move on the Red Bull of Thok. His battle is with Naismith, but Naismith is down in 16th place after a spin in the Lesmos. So he is unable to fight one Red Bull. Picks a fight instantly with another. And who says he shouldn't? Redoubts now in a fight with Mrios. As Mrios looks to have the edge in this battle. Redoubts going very wide onto the gravel and into the wall. And that's a wheel coming off of the car. Which is a definite DNF with a safety car, virtual safety car being deployed. And a DNF from Redoubts. Ultimately his battle was not with the Red Bull. It was with the McLaren. And the fight here resulted in Redoubts getting a DNF, but R11 goes into the pits, followed by Kaká, but R11 has a 5-second time penalty, which will be taken in the next pit stop. Gets a good pit, so stays ahead of Kaká, but he does have that penalty. Waza also getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. This looks huge for Alfa Romeo. Here we have Thok in the pits. Does not serve that 3-second time penalty, so it is going to be added at the end. Virtual safety car has been released. DRS will be enabled once again. Now we're going to take a quick peek at the tire strategies. Brass Monkey's not going for the pit, but taking a lot of positions here. So you can see a lot of drivers opting for the hard tire. Waza going onto the softs. And Kaká onto the mediums. Very interesting tactic here. Maybe He's looking to go mediums and then softs towards the end. Thok getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Has Tutschke on his rear. So no wonder he's crossing the limits. He's being pushed so hard by this front row sitter in the Ferrari. They're in a battle too. We've got front row seats. Unironically, to the battle between Brass Monkeys and Thok, as Thok goes past into Ascari before they even reach the braking zone. Now Brass Monkeys is up for taking for Tutschke, but don't forget, Rios is also joining in. Tutschke now getting the upper hand with the exit speed going into the final corner. Takes 8th position, and Brass Monkeys instantly has to defend from Rios. Will have the DRS to help him out, but ultimately it's up to the exit speed, and it looks like that McLaren is just a tiny bit quicker on the straight. If we look at the tire wear as well, Brass Monkeys decided to stay out, so he has used hards, while everyone around him is on newer tires, so that means he has the underhand in these battles. Tutschke now looking to claim some of those positions back he lost with that mistake out of the final corner. After spinning, luckily not getting too much damage and being able to just continue racing. Caution is sector 2, and it looks like Waza had a little moment. All the way down in 13th now. Remember them being very close together, those Ferrari drivers, and now Waza being all the way back. Very unfortunate, but Tutschke now looking to fight with this Red Bull. Almost makes you think of the start of the 2023 season in Formula 1, where Red Bull and Ferrari actually had a small fight, which ultimately ended in a season we can all probably remember all too well. Jaspar's now getting stuck. Mihu has a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. As Tutschke goes on the outside and gets the position of Thok even before the braking zone, with the help of the DRS and the slipstream, able to make a clean overtake. Mihu now 13th, has taken a 5-second time penalty and got another one, but Naismith has DNF'd. It looks like that happened on the final corner. Unable to take a look at that, and the safety car is deployed. Jaspar's getting very lucky with that one. Able to just take the pit stop. Should be able to come out in front of Kaka. But we'll see. As the pack is going to be scrunched down. This is very, very big for Tutschke, who is currently sitting in 6th position. Has a 12-second gap in front of him. This is going to be very, very big. And if we look at the tires, Remix ahead of him has 10-lap old tires. Did not pit during the previous safety car. Might jump in now to maybe switch to either new mediums or new hards. Will actually go into the pits with Kaka in as well, changing to new hards. Looking to get something going there. Tutschke has a 12-second gap, goes in, tries to fake out Thok by looking like he's going out, as Thok wants to follow Tutschke down. Arkid leaving the session, giving his AI full control over the car, which is very unfortunate. Hopefully he'll get back in, because everyone knows the AI is just not as fast as some of these drivers. Arkid being especially fast today. Looking at all of this, Divine Eye getting some positions from drivers in the pits. Being very happy with this, and even, maybe even, able to sit this one out on this compound. Brass Monkeys most likely not, with 12-lap old tires, but did not go into the pits. Strangely enough. Tutschke going for new mediums, as well as Remix and Paddy also. And Thok, Marios, Waza, AJ having the same thoughts, going to the mediums, thinking they can reach the end of the race on the medium compound. We're going to take a quick look if Brass Monkeys is going to go into the pits to get a new set of tires. But he will lose a lot of positions, end up in 12th place behind Rios most likely. But he maybe just wants to sit this stint out. As he has not stopped yet. It might have been worth to stop. Might have been worth to stop as the safety car got out, but he did not. Is now going to stay out on this compound that he started off the race with as well. Small gaps now being cleared. The biggest gap currently from P13 to P12. So I'll have to wait for that until the safety car ends. For now though, take a quick break. Arcade is back, so you can all rest safely. He will be driving at the restart. So grab something to drink, go for a quick toilet break, grab a snack. And we'll be racing again when the safety car goes in. And if we look at the championship battles, they were between Readouts and Naismith, both retiring outside of the points, meaning they will not get anything out of this. It looks like we have Jaspars in 16th in this pack, in between of, I believe that is the Steps and Kaka. It is. So he's in between second and third. Looks like he's not allowed to pass the safety car. He's in last place and he's in the middle of the fighting pack. This is going to be one very interesting race restart. He's swerving to the side, maybe trying to let someone go. As Brass Monkeys does go into the pits. Finally. Goes in, takes the L, loses the positions. Is now in 12th place going into the pits from hards onto new mediums. Maybe he knew he wasn't going to lose any more positions than down to 12th. Calculated it. And now tried to minimize the mileage on those tires. Did end up ahead of Waza very, very closely. So that timing was absolutely perfect. If he had slowed down a bit too much, a little bit more, he would have been behind Waza, but luckily that is not the case. But our eyes will go to the front of the pack. To the front of the field. I believe we did see Jaspars doing a maneuver. Or he hasn't. Maybe I'm just blind. And he is pulling out of the way, maybe showing to Kaka like, hey, I'm going to move out of the way at the safety car restart. Safety car will be in this lap. So we can see Jaspars right ahead. Maybe trying to get as close as possible to the steps so Kaka can get the best restart and he won't interfere with the battle going on. Arcade now has the lead and has the control of the pace, going very slowly down the back straight. Is able to just drop it at any moment, which will most likely be after the final turn. With the first half of the race just completed, and starting off the second half of the race with this final lap behind the safety car, Arcade has started off the race again after this restart, and the steps is very, very close. Very good reaction speed as well, because Kaka was not in the battle there. He was not able to react. as Jaspers was in the way. But the Steps looking on the inside. Arcade not going defensive. The Steps, the Alpine breaking in very deep, going side by side into turn 1, safely through turn 2. Some contact and the Steps being pushed off almost completely, but takes back the space and keeps it in P2. In the meantime, Kaká has driven through and Jaspers has moved back. Can now see him fight a little bit more. Battle for P9 as well, as Divine Eye and Thok going side by side into the second chicane. Thok having the edge there and continuing in 9th. Tushki now overtaking Faulkner as well. Looks like all the drivers with the mediums are overtaking the drivers on the hards. Looks to be the superior tire for now. But here at the front, if you look at this, the top 3 all have the same compound. So this is going to be very interesting. Sparrow dropping back a few positions. Wonder if that's a mistake. Might just be the slipstream overtakes going on. Kaká now chasing the Steps. Has a podium position, but that is not enough for him. He needs to have that security. His teammate Paddy right behind him as well. Might not be enough. Might be too much pressure, as this train is going to wait for DRS to be activated on the next lap. Kaká looking on the inside, but decides not to do it. Doesn't have enough speed to make anything happen. Sparrow now very close. Mario's getting an overtake done on Divine Eyes. Brass Monkeys gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. Unsure what happened there. Might have gone straight into the barriers, but got a massive time penalty. Back up to the front. Paddy on the mediums, chasing his teammate with the hards. As Divine Eye looks to have spun in the second chicane and lost all of the progress that he made so far. Drops down to 14th and has to try and catch back up. No safety car this time to save him. Paddy with the mediums. Probably fed up with his teammate. Needs to go past. Stock getting another 3-second time penalty. Adding up to 9 in total. Currently in 8th place. But if we would finish like this, we would drop back all the way to 12th. The top 4 all within 4/10, 5/10 of each other, and there is the DRS being enabled. Not for this bit though. The Steps making the move, looking on the inside. Arcade not going defensive. Will they go side by side? No, the Steps has the corner, but if you look closely, Kaká has looked for the opportunity to also make an overtake on Arcade, getting the double done, but unfortunately did not succeed. Still, he's not giving up. Arcade also looking, has the overspeed and takes back the position from the Alpine driver. Kaká looking, but isn't able to make anything happen. His teammate behind has the speed, has the tires, but isn't able to overtake. Look at these 4. So close. Now everyone has the DRS except for Arcade. Arcade going on the inside, looking to defend from the Steps, who doesn't go for the attack. Thok DNFing after the second Lesmo. And there's a virtual safety car giving the tires a little bit of a break. So these top 4 probably very anxious to do something. Paddy slowing down, creating a gap between P3 and P5. Arcade and the Steps doing a little bit of a dance there. Paddy making quite a big gap. Don't know if that is intentional. Looks to be intentional for his teammate to not give any pressure. Now goes into the pits, as the top 3 all do. Arcade in front has that 5-second time penalty. Will serve it right now. The Steps going on to new softs. It looks like Kaká did pit, and now Paddy had to wait, losing all those positions by just waiting and needing to wait for that pit. Down to 5th, or 6th, as Arcade is now 5th. Tushki all the way up to 4th, as the full safety car has been deployed, with the Steps leading, Kaká in 2nd, and Remix in 3rd. Look at the tires. Remix also stopped, meaning that the top are all running on new softs. This is going to be one hell of a restart. Most likely about 7 or 6 laps remaining after the restart. And the top 8 are all on new softs. Waza on mediums and Mihu also on the softs. Going to make this a very, very interesting little moment. With all the penalties accumulated served from R11, his position is net. So there's no position change from any penalties in the top position so far. This is the closest everyone has been and the least amount of penalties we've seen in the top 10 in a long while. This is going to be very interesting. Kaká in 2nd, Paddy in 6th. Rios and Mihu in 7th and 10th. All looking to make a move. Waza and Tutski also in 9th and 4th. Tutski having an incredible comeback there. Needs to wait another lap to make a move. As we're in the final third of the race and the safety car will continue to go for at least one more lap. Seeing the confirmation now that the safety car will be in this lap. We'll continue to race for the final 7 laps of the Monza GP here at Divine Eye Racing. The steps having the lead. Knowing when to drop the hammer will be the most important part here. Kaká in 2nd, Remix 3rd, Tutski 4th, and R11 5th, Paddy 6th, Mrio 7th. This is such a stacked top. This cannot be any closer. The steps still going slowly. Hasn't started yet. Will probably start to accelerate sometime soon because look at the drivers behind. They're all bunching up. And it looks like he is going. Kaká with him very closely. But Remix even closer. Tutski not being able to catch up as far. Paddy looking for something. Kaká also looking on the inside, not doing anything. Paddy overtaking, going side by side there. Remix getting the short end of it. Tutski the large end, I would say. And Remix moving all the way down to 11th. Tutski losing out on some positions too. Now gaining one back from Paddy. Is now up into 3rd position. But Paddy not taking no for an answer. Going up in the inside. A little bit of wheel banging. Tutski going straight off the track. Murio's getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And R11 pushing into 4th after Paddy had contact with Tutski. Now had a bad exit. Tutski going off track. Paddy most likely going to look for some part of a appeal. Because this was a big send into the chicane. Paddy was ahead slightly. They were side by side at least. And then Paddy not being able to get anywhere close. Mario's not getting a 6-second... Oh, Sparrow getting a 3-second time penalty for track limits as well. Arcade looking to do something, but the first driver to be able to do something now is Kaká. Onto the straight with the slipstream. The steps put in a 1 minute 20.9 on these new softs. This racing is going to be the closest we'll see today with these soft tires. The drivers are going to be able to push the car to its absolute limit. No cars will be close enough to do anything without the DRS. The steps now having to lead this race. Lead from Kaká, who is so close. Not going defensive yet. Knows that Kaká is also trying to conserve some of the tire. Arcade now chasing down Tutschke. Has a small gap behind him. We know he's really fast. And even with those with that 5-second time penalty, being in 4th right now is a big statement. Remix, after pulling the short end of the stick into turn 1, now has to fight back. Mario's getting overtaken by Faulkner on that bit there. Remix also looking at Waza, but Waza keeping his 8th position. Diverting our eyes back up to the front. Kaká being very close right behind there as well. You can see Tutschke in 3rd being chased down by Arcade. But the DRS should be opened on this lap. There we have it. DRS enabled. Which means that for the next section we will see DRS happening. Kaká looking but not close enough to do anything. Tutschke not even going to try. Mihu overtaking Sparrow on the start straight after the final corner. But now, for the fight for the lead, the steps and Kaká. The steps nowhere near in the championship standings, but every point is a point that Kaká needs. The more points he gets now compared to Mario's, the more secure his championship will be. Might just secure it with this race if he keeps going on like this. Currently about 45 points off. Next weekend will be the sprint race, which means you can score a lot more points. Which means that Marios might be able to do something if he has a great performance next week in Abu Dhabi. Wazar getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Also dropped down to 9th place by Remix. Arcade leaving Tutschke a little bit further behind, joining the battle up front. Jaspar's also hitting that 3-second time penalty. And now we see this train of DRS looking for a podium position. All 4 of them. So Arcade has taken 3rd position. Kaká looking because the steps going defensive, but ultimately nothing happens just yet. This just allows for Arcade and Tutschke to join the pack, and maybe Paddy to go into this fight as well. He's a bit further behind. So we see Mihu going slowly, overtaken by quite a few drivers, and Rios getting an overtake done on Faulkner, moving him up into 6th position, but he has to defend. As Faulkner is very close. And Marios knows that this is for the championship, so the more points he gets now, the better. Arcade and Kaká fighting as well. Arcade getting that 2nd place, saying, hey, give me back my lead after serving that 5-second time penalty. It's been dropped down a few places. Marios now also losing that 6th position again. They'll have to try on the next lap in the next DRS zone. Kaká still in 3rd place. Knows that these are the points he needs. The podium position is great. A lot of points are great, but the win would be fantastic. Arcade also has the DRS, but does he have the slipstream as good as Kaká does? All of them swerving side by side. Kaká deciding to not go for a move there. So we're going to look further behind. Marios also not going for it. Now, the other McLaren will be. Mihu sending it onto Sparrow on the inside of turn 1. Will be ahead on the exit. Has very close on the apex of turn 2. Sparrow able to get good traction going around the outside with those new softs. The grip is insane. So now has the inside for the next chicane. Mihu now has to stick behind, and it looks a bit squirrely on the exit there. Mihu getting the better end of it. And Sparrow now having to stick in front for now. Keeping that position. AJ joining in on the battle as well. These two drivers have cost each other so much time now. Mihu makes a small mistake, allowing for Sparrow to get back, and AJ getting a position as well, but they keep driving very closely. We're also very close now. Are the top 3. This is all within half a second of each other. Dutchkey trailing a little bit behind as well. Not out for the count yet. Kaka has the DRS. The steps going defensive on the inside. Kaka already passed into the braking zone. The steps looking to maybe outbrake, hits Kaka and gets stabbed from behind as well. As Kaka gets squirrely on the outside. Gets a bad exit out of turn 2. Or turn 3 is that. I don't know what the amount of corners are. These drivers so close, all within 2/10 of each other. Kaka deciding not to send it. Gets stabbed from behind by Arkid. Arkid looking very eager and very, very good on the brakes as well. Thinks he can brake later than the rest of the grid. He's very aggressive at that. Which has allowed Dutchkey, all of this battling has allowed Dutchkey to catch up too. We're now almost on the final lap. And these 4 are as close as they've ever been. Dutchkey unable to make a move happen, but is lurking for an incident. Is lurking for that podium position. If he doesn't get it on pace, he might be able to get it on a penalty. Or an incident that will happen between the top 3. Arkid now so close to do something, but not close enough. We'll have to wait for the DRS. But Kaka also has that DRS to help him out defend the steps. The only one here in the top 4 without DRS. As we're entering the final lap with the steps leading the small pack. Dutchkey getting real close. Arkid going defensive. Dutchkey on the outside. But as we saw before, Arkid very strong on the brakes. Able to outbrake the Ferrari. Allowing him to stay in front for now. Kaka in second place. Looks to have a lot of grip going onto the grass. Almost off the track completely. Looked on the inside but didn't get any space. Very well driven from the steps. Arkid still in the middle of all of this. Wants to have that podium position. Wants to get P3, P2, maybe even P1. Is he getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings? And as I said before, Dutchkey with this will take home 3rd place at the very least. If he keeps this close, as Kaka goes side by side with the steps, but loses out on the fight. Arkid going very bumpy now off the track as well. Kaka getting 2nd place as there's some crash. And it looks like Arkid is off into the wall. As Dutchkey takes 2nd place. And Arkid hits the wall on this last lap incident. It looked like to happen on a straight on the exit of Ascari, with the steps taking the race victory. Dutchkey getting 2nd place of all things. Kaka finishing in 3rd with his teammate Paddy in 4th. Remix 5th. Rios getting 7th place after penalties applied. And this is unbelievable. I don't know what happened. It looked like to be on a straight. They all looked side by side. One driver going off the track out of the exit of Ascari. And then trying to get back onto the track. Looked to be Arkid. And there might have been some contact. I don't know. The stewards will have to look at all of this. And Arkid ultimately falling outside of the points. An unfortunate series of events allows the steps to win this race, with Dutchkey following in 2nd place. Started on the front row, finishes on the front row as well. Paddy in 4th, getting some points, great points as well. Securing the lead in the Constructors' Championship. Kaka being 3rd place, getting some well-deserved points as well. Here we see the steps with a great victory after an insane finish and a last lap that will probably be looked at by several of the stewards to try and see what happened, what went wrong, and who deserves to get what, because this was madness. So weird to see that unfold. Now for the provisional standings right here, the provisional results. The Steps being first, Dutchkey in second, Kaka claiming that final podium position. Paddy in fourth, then Remix, Faulkner, Rios, AJ, Wazai in ninth, Mihu in 10th. Sparrow, Brass Monkeys, Orchid, Divine Eye, Jaspar's Thok, Naismith, Readouts, Oranjeboom, and Joby Rennie with the 5 DNFs at the end of this result. But if anything is safe here, it seems to me that the Steps was not involved in any of those incidents, in any of the taps or crashes on the final lap, which means that he will take home the victory and the fastest lap in any case. With that being said, I want to thank you for watching and supporting the stream, and we'll see you next week at the final round of the season. My name is Olaf, and I'll see you next week.